And I begin as I did by saying that my claims this morning are quite simple, and that is that it's more reasonable to believe in God than to reject the hypothesis of God by appealing to chance. God as creator and chance are the only two options as an explanation of the universe. Atheists aren't agnostics. Agnostics claim they don't know or they're not interested in this question. Atheists state quite clearly there is no God. For atheists, the universe is the product of blind chance, has no purpose, perhaps just a brute fact. So humans are like the froth on the wave, sometimes pretty, sometimes dangerous, always inconsequential. I believe that goodness, truth and beauty call for an explanation, as do the principles of mathematics, physics, and especially the purpose-driven miracles of biology which run at least through this earth. And the human capacities to recognize these qualities of truth, goodness and beauty, to invent and construct, also call for an explanation. The Irish philosopher Brendan Purcell cites the frequently used quotation from Einstein that the one thing that is unintelligible about the universe is its intelligibility. From the beginning, it's also important rather, to realize that in arguing for God, we're not claiming the existence of a super quality physical cause or phenomenon accessible to science within the universe. God is not some fantastic, hyper-successful UFO, unidentified flying object. The philosopher and the atheist, Thomas Nagel, explained that the purpose of the God hypothesis is to claim that not everything is physical, and that there is a mental, purposive or intentional explanation more fundamental than the basic laws of physics, because it explains even them. By definition, God must be self-sufficient, the reason for his own existence, which is a statement that young children and others, initially at least, don't find a very satisfactory answer to their frequent question, who made God? Different categories of believers believe in different types of God. Deists do not accept that God is in any sense personal, but as the supreme being, the creator, the intelligence which doesn't intervene in the universe. Pantheists identify God with the universe, regarding the universe as a manifestation of God. So that the mighty, often uncontrollable forces of nature often produce awe in every type of person. Monotheists believe only one God exists, and traditional monotheists, such as Jews, Christians and Muslims, believe God to be transcendent and personal in some superior sense. And there's only one God. There's not a Christian God, and also a Muslim God, and also a Jewish God. There's one God that is described and approached in different ways. In other words, the one transcendent God is not on our level of reality, not even as a thermonuclear trigger or a giant rocket which set off the Big Bang at the start of the universe. God is beyond space and time, not part of the natural order, and therefore not open to observation by the natural sciences. And hence, therefore, talking about God, we have to philosophize. We're going with or after physics, we're doing metaphysics. We're philosophizing. I've got quite a splendid book here by a fellow called Anthony Flew. His publicist claimed that he used to be the best-known atheist in the world, British philosopher. It's a splendidly written, and he's now discovered God. It's a beautifully written book and very accessible. So whether you believe or don't believe in God, this is as good a case as you'll get rationally for the existence of God. His most controversial claim in the book is, as I quote, that of all the discoveries of modern science, the greatest discovery of modern science is God. This is provocative for unbelievers, especially unbelieving scientists, and provocative for believers who know that the roots of monotheism are found with Abraham about 3,700 or 3,900 years ago. I repeat that we cannot arrive to God within the framework of science because God is outside science and time. And I also repeat that the God for which we are arguing is not a God of the gaps. It is the whole of the universe which is not self-explanatory. All us as humans, not self-explanatory. Not self-explanatory. And the infrastructure and elements we understand scientifically, neither are they self-explanatory. Many people over the ages have found evidence of the mind of God in the laws of nature, in their regularity and symmetry, and some now more in the richness and unpredictability of the universe. The law of the conservation of energy, Newton's first law of motion, and Boyle's law, mathematically precise regularities, universal and tied together, are the examples Flew gives as he asks how and why nature is packaged in this way. Flew shows that as well as Einstein, and I'll quote from him, the great scientists who developed quantum physics, Max Planck, Werner Heisenberg, Erwin Schrödinger and Paul Dirac, were all theists, all believers in God. And even Charles Darwin rejected blind chance or necessity as the cause of the universe and looked to a first cause with an intelligent mind. A number of writers espouse a theory called the weak anthropic principle, which is, and I quote, that matter evolved in an elaborate, finely tuned conspiracy to produce air-breathing, carbon-based life forms possessed of self-consciousness. Others have claimed as much by saying the universe knew we were coming. The universe is finely tuned. If the value of even one of the fundamental constants, the speed of light, or the mass of an electron, had been slightly different, then no planet capable of producing life could have formed. Other examples abound. If the nuclear strong force had been slightly weaker, holding the atom together, no element heavier than hydrogen would have been formed. If the Big Bang had been more vigorous, matter could not have formed into stars and planets. If it had been less, probably the planets would have been immensely larger. The one-force strength of electromagnetism enables carbon synthesis to occur in stars, allows stars to burn steadily for billions of years and atoms to exist, and ensures protons behave in a way so that chemistry is possible. This is not the result of blind chance. And neither do we have a satisfactory explanation for the origin of life from long-living matter. For the fact, for example, that every animal for 600 million years has the same body plan, with the exception of the jellyfish. Living beings, living matter, are purpose-driven and directed. Aristotle, the great Greek philosopher, is evident in their innate activity. The baby moving towards the breast of its mother soon after birth, of a caterpillar developing into a butterfly. And on top of this, all forms of life are able to reproduce themselves. And new and different species emerge in some mysterious way. Another mystery of life is the origin of the coding and information processes in all life forms. The cell is a system which stores, processes, and replicates information. Flew became a theist. He changed his mind after studying the directive capacity of DNA, whose genetic message is replicated and transcribed to RNA, then into the amino acids.